Lean forward and wave. All right. Thank you for coming to my presentation on Recognize, Develop, and Protect. In 1948, a company was founded called 3M. And one of the things that they did was they had 15% time. And 15% time meant that the employees could work on any project they wanted on company pay. And from that project came Post-it notes. And Post-it notes are one of the top 5 office products sold in 1990. It was a huge hit. And then Google, who does everything, takes it up a notch, they have 20% time. So basically, 1 day out of 5, people in their office could work on any project they wanted. And out of that came Gmail and Google Maps and a whole bunch of other stuff that I actually don't play with. And so one of the interesting things about this is that they didn't limit this 20% time to research and development teams. They allowed all the employees to use that, and that because they didn't know where the next brainstorm would occur. Okay, so the question is, if you had extra time, what would you do with it? You know, where would you even begin? And so that is what I want to help you do. I want to help you to recognize your passions, give you some clues on how to develop them, and then tell you the secret of how to protect those passions. So first of all, recognizing your passions. And you got to think, what excites you? There are things that excite us and things that terrify us. And for me, I really like to do the weekend warrior thing. I like to push my limits and get muddy. This is Tough Mudder. I've done it twice now. And I did a Spartan Super last year. And that's really fun for me. But it's really hard for me to get other people to go with me. On the other hand, one of the things that terrifies me is performing in front of people. But I have a daughter that can stand up, she's in green there, can stand up and perform in front of hundreds of people. She can recite poetry, she can improv, and she can dance and sing and play the piano. She does all sorts of crazy things. And so you have to think, when you're looking for your passions, decide what you like to do, what you feel comfortable with, and avoid the things that you don't want to do. Okay. And also listen for compliments. And people might say, oh, yeah, everything you cook is amazing, your house is decorated so cute. Or for me, I got a lot of compliments on being organized. And from that, I have built a passion for having very clean closets and for organizing events such as Young Women's Camp, or 2 summers ago when I organized all the young women from our ward climbing up to the top of Pikes Peak. Another thing, what comes easy? When the volunteer sign-up sheet goes around, are you leaning towards, you know, there's things that you'll lean towards and things that you'll lean against. Those things that you're leaning towards, because they're going to be easy and not take up a lot of your time, those are things you might want to develop into a passion. So you get to choose your passions. It might be writing a novel, or doing family history work, or being a student, or possibly getting into photography. Maybe baking and decorating and selling treats, or dance. There are sports. There are so many sports you can get obsessed about. Or maybe it's travel, or playing a musical instrument. Maybe you want to go back to school and be a nurse, or a massage therapist, or maybe run a marathon. There are so many things. So choose a passion, and now I'm going to give you clues for how to develop that passion. And for me, I'll explain one thing that I did, and then you can use those clues, those ideas for yourself. Now, I got my first big bicycle in 2008, and I fell immediately in love with the concept of supported group rides. And what those are, I do the week-long events. And how that works is you tent at night, and then you pack up your gear and you put it on a truck, and then you ride your bike to the aid stations, and they'll put the aid stations along the way. They'll mark the route, and you don't have to worry about toilets or water or food. You just kind of go and you have fun. And so these rides, they help me to get to places that I wouldn't go on my own, to climb mountains that I would never climb because I'd be too afraid alone, and to go miles that I wouldn't do on my own. And so these rides, they combine the things that I love the most: camping, riding my bike, being on vacation, and eating out. So I love them. And when I found out that I was moving to Colorado, everybody talked about Ride the Rockies. Ride the Rockies is the most epic of all the trips because it has the most elevation and the biggest challenges. And so I began in Ride the Rockies in 2009. It was a 380-mile ride, and it spanned 6 days. And it was quite a challenge for me. And on the final day, we had luckily a 40-mile downhill that I could coast on because I could no longer sit on my bike seat. That was out of the question. I was so sore. And when I got home, I parked that bike. I didn't ride it for like 6 weeks. And I could have never rode it again. But I decided I want that ride to beat me. So I registered again. And my strategy was to build strength. So I found instruction. I joined a group ride and did a lot of practicing outside. I did spin classes inside and got really strong. So I went the next year. But this year, notice that it was 543 miles over 7 days. So they added 160 miles to the route and another day. And that totally wiped me. And that was a really tough one. I was completely exhausted at the end, but I decided I'm going to beat this. And so my strategy now was to get educated. I watched YouTube videos, I read blogs, I read books, I talked to people, I learned about nutrition, I learned about saddle sores, what they are, how to prevent them. I learned how important recovery is, and I made it so that I could beat this ride. And then my next opportunity to ride was 2012. And I went 442 miles in 6 days. And on the final day, it was 50 miles. And I was in such a good mood because I knew I had beat it. I knew that if they asked me to do another 80 miles, I could totally do it. And in fact, we got home that night and I rode Starlight Spectacular, a whole nother event. And I was finally equal to the task. Now the thing is, there were some bad rides, there were some bad days, and I could have given up. But it was my passion, and I wanted to succeed. And so when you have bad days, and whatever you're doing, whether it's, baking and a cake flops, or whatever you're doing, there will be bad days. It's not a deal breaker. It is input that you can use to get better, to fix things. In fact, with the Post-it notes, that's not what they set out to create. They were trying to create a really, really strong adhesive. And they were able to turn it into something else. So finally, I want to tell you how to protect this great passion that you have discovered and that you have developed. And the key to that is do not compare. Do not compare yourself to others. That will poison what you're doing. When I ride my bike, there are people that pass me. I pass people. I don't judge. I don't know their backstory. I could be already 50 miles into the ride and they could have hopped a ride and just be starting out. They could be really strong and I'm passing them because they have a stomach bug. I don't know. I can't judge. And the thing is, but I have every right to be out there doing that with everybody else because it's my passion. It's what I want to do. And you also have every right to be out doing whatever it is that you want to do. And so don't compare yourself to others. You can't be a wrench trying to knock a nail in thinking, I'm never going to be like the hammer, I'm never going to be that good. Because you have a different skill set. And you just have to do what you love. So I want you to recognize your passions, develop them, and protect them by not comparing. So you've got some time. You have some time. What do you want to do, and what are you waiting for? Thank you.